Good morning. It's Friday, December 16th. Senator Mark Begich actually did a good service yesterday when he chaired a hearing in Washington on genetically modified salmon. And he got the CEO of AquaBounty, Ron Stotish, to testify. I think the most trenchant comment to come out of the hearing came from Paul Greenberg, the author, who basically said, genetically modified salmon is an idea whose time has passed. What he was referring to was the remarkable degree of development that the farm salmon industry has made in terms of feed conversion, in terms of reduction in cost, and in terms of expansion of capacity in the 10 or 12 years during which the AquaBounty GM salmon has been under development. And what Paul is essentially saying is the economic rationale of a genetically modified, super fast growing salmon has faded. The rest of the hearing really focused on the central issue, which is what is the environmental risk of a genetically modified salmon. This is the issue that resonates in the Northwest and anywhere that people appreciate wild salmon. The conclusion seemed to be that first of all, Stotish did not say there was zero risk. In terms of escapes, he said that the risk was less than 1%, and in terms of sterile females, he said that the number of sterile females would be greater than 99%. But in either case, he did not say the risk was zero. He then argued that the series of containment measures that were in place, including growing the genetically modified salmon in a warm climate, would actually mean that there was no risk of danger to the larger populations. But I don't think anybody in this debate is concerned about one factory in Panama. What they're concerned about is if this industry actually does become a big part of farm salmon, there's no telling where future land-based plants might be located or what might happen in future escapes. George Leonard from the Ocean Conservancy talked about the changing nature of risk in Atlantic salmon introduced in British Columbia, where initially escapes were thought to be impossible, then they were thought not to matter, then it was thought that there can't be breeding populations, and then the final conclusion is the breeding populations that are established don't really matter. In the same way, he looked at the introduction of other species where the assurances and knowledge in the beginning of the process was far different than what actually happened 20 years afterwards. Finally, the other comment was about the salmon and farm fish industry as a whole. Farm fish industry has been under attack, and this is the part that resonates with me the most, which is the farm fish industry is really struggling to achieve better acceptance among consumers. And there's often a sense that somehow farm fish is not as good a product as a wild-caught fish. And I think the introduction of a genetically modified salmon, particularly an unlabeled genetically modified salmon, has the potential to undermine consumer confidence in the entire category. And this fear, I think, has been echoed by some salmon producers and by some retailers. So the upshot is, why is it worth having this product, and why is it worth taking the risks involved in order to allow the production of the genetically modified salmon to go forward? Now, a lot of the hearing also focused on the fact that the FDA was not adequate to make this decision because they did not look at the larger environmental risk. They only looked at whether it's okay for humans to eat this particular fish, of which there is no doubt. It's on the larger question of what is the environmental risk to wild salmon and what is the economic risk to the entire farm fish industry that this project really should be judged. In Lexington, Mass., this is John Sackton.